everybody, welcome back to Mortgage Ballers. My name is Rich Hanlin, and yes, that is an Atlanta Braves hat because they are in town starting tomorrow, and I'm ready for a week of in-home games. But besides all that, throw it to the side. Yes, that is her right there, Jessica Nicolella. She smiled. I've been practicing that 25 times. You say it for everybody so that they hear it correctly.
Jessica Nicolella. So you did a pretty good job.
Try and say that yourself and see how hard it was for me. All right. Take number 85. No, I'm kidding. Jessica, first of all, thank you for coming. Thanks for just spending a couple minutes. Not everybody wants to get on camera. Some people don't like it, but I promise the whole thing is for people to know that you're more than just a licensed loan officer, because it drives me nuts when people say, oh, loan officer. I'm like, well, yeah, but I have a lot of other cool things about me too. And I'm a loan officer. So I'm hoping today I can show that. But thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How long have you been a loan officer? Why don't we start that side of it?
Sure. Yeah, I started out in 2019, but that was after several years of being an investor and managing rental properties.
Okay.
And so I have a lot longer history in real estate than that, but my lending career started in 2019.
2019. And are you part of a team or do you do it by yourself?
I'm part of the Greenlight Mortgage Group team. So I have a wonderful community in that we just have a fantastic working relationship and tremendous wealth of knowledge. I really love working with them.
And are you part in Colorado? Are you one of the Colorado people or are you one of the people outside of Colorado?
Yep, I work in Colorado. And so we have an office in Boulder. I've worked out of that, but primarily I work here from my home office most of the time these days.
Well, people say, Rich, you know those answers. I do, but the world doesn't. So I like to hear it because I think people don't realize, Jessica, it's incredible to have incredible people around you lifting you up. You're just sharing, like you guys do events and things like that. And, you're able to bounce stuff off of each other. Do you guys meet once a week even electronically, or how do you guys do that?
Yeah, we meet electronically once a week, and then we are planning to do quarterly events for our bigger community going forward through the rest of this year. And we also usually get together for a hike. We have a group of us who we're pretty consistently getting together for a morning hike weekly and fell off of that a little bit, but we're getting back into it with the weather returning. And we'll get together for happy hours. There's a golf group getting together in a couple weeks from now. And so we like to get together in person sometimes, but pretty much very consistently we work together once a week. And then we also have a chat that we can just throw ideas into, questions into, that's really, really active. So we connect a lot.
Do you guys do, does he force you to do, Matt Hardy, does he force everybody up on the side of a rock for rock climbing, or is that just something we haven't gotten into yet?
That's optional. Mostly he just arranges the timing of our meetings so that he can go rock climbing. And I'm not joking, that came up on today's meeting. Hey, can we move our scheduled meeting going forward? Because I have this rock climbing group I want to be part of.
He's my first rock climber. I have my first professional jet skier. I have my first, we have multiple professional singers. We have a rock band leader that actually has albums out. I mean, just Jeff Neff, by the way. And I'm just like, that's what I'm talking about. Without having these kind of conversations, number one, getting to know you, but number two, I want the world to know these top performers. By the way, let's say it like it is. Jessica's the best of the best for 2024, part of Greenlight Mortgage Group, Matt Hardy's team that he's started, which he was also a top performer. Jessica tied for 31st out of 627 loan originators for 2024 for Xpert Home Lending that powers their group, which is the 6th largest mortgage broker in the nation. We're not talking there was 12 of them and she came in 31st, right? Like anybody can say that. Like we have some of the best, and we keep making it harder on you guys because we keep bringing more and more good people in. But yet there are certain people that no matter who we bring in, they always seem to be in that top 50, which is a very, very big testament how hard you guys work, the leadership, how you help each other, things like that. And that's what I want to focus on a little bit. Because there's so many loan officers that we talked about that are on the other end of that spectrum that day to day, they don't know where their next paycheck's coming from. They literally have no methodology. They're kind of flailing, not failing, but flailing day to day. Take me through a day in Jessica's life. Jessica wakes up, and how do you do this business?
Sure. So I wake up in the morning, and first thing, I have an online workout group that I'm part of. That's part of a local networking group
Okay.
that I'm in. That is just it's specific to moms in business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met the trainer who does that group through that networking event. And that's how I like to connect with people, is just people who I have something in common with, who
Something in
would be
common.
my friends.
Okay.
And just connect with those people who I like spending time with. I know I'm going to have things in common with anyway, and just have connections that aren't just me calling them and asking them for business.
Right.
So I get up, I do that. I get my kids through their morning routine, on the bus out the door. And then I go through. I have a task list that runs from day to day. I always check in on that first thing, see what the most important things are, check through my emails, make sure anything that's urgent is put on that task list for first thing. And then I just make sure all of my loans in process are moving smoothly. Any client communication that needs to happen is happening either through me or through my processing support team. And then I just work through whatever my next project is. So I'm sometimes working on making sure that any of my clients who have closed recently are already set up so that I know what parameters I'd be looking for them
Okay.
to set rate alerts in case a refinance comes up. So I really try to make sure that when something closes, I have a post-closing process to make sure that they are in the pipeline for whatever the next thing is. Because if they start hearing from other people that rates are low and I haven't contacted them, that doesn't look great for me. And it's not me doing what I love to do in my job for those people. It's just making sure that they're taken care of. That their financial debt is managed in the most efficient way possible. So I do that. I usually take a break for lunch, try to get outside a little bit for a little bit of the day if possible, come back, finish up whatever projects need to be done, usually meet with clients via Zoom or Google Meet. And we'll do those meetings both for pre-approvals and for once they're under contract.
Okay.
And then finish up the day with whatever multiple activities my kids have, driving them around too.
What's funny, you said all those things. You said, and then I break for lunch, and I was like, yes, you heard her say all those things that she does on a daily basis before lunch, waking up to lunch. Most people, they just don't understand it. It's a daily, ongoing productivity. Everything is geared towards productivity. You said something that not everybody talks about. How important that immediately when that thing closes, when everything's fresh, setting that next touch point. What's going to make it worth a call to these people? And I do that too. Like if the rates, I know they want 4. Cool. Well, if I hit 3.5, I'm getting a trigger to myself to start going, ooh, this person's on my watch list. Because they don't always wait. Because other people will start hitting your people. I mean, they really do that. What did we say? Rocket just acquired Mr. Cooper. They don't do that because they want to service. They want the loans, and a lot of those are going to be our loans because they're one of the biggest servicers. If you're not going to stay in front of your people, they will hit them. I promise you. How do you stay in front of people? Do you have your own system? Do you have a CRM? How do you do it?
Yeah, so I use my Home IQ so that I have monthly emails go out with a home value update to my clients and various
Okay.
things they click on. I get a notification, so I reach out to them based on that. I also set those rate alerts post closing. So if there is an opportunity that makes sense, I will reach out to those clients at that time. I usually will send just a text message on birthdays, just so it's a little bit more like a friend contact.
Okay.
And just let them know I'm thinking of them. Hope they're having a great day. Hope if it was a recent closing, hope the house is treating you well. So that'll usually generate some things. And on those servicer calls, I think one of the things that really makes me feel great as a loan officer is if they do get solicitations and they bring them to me and say, hey, what's going on here? It just makes me feel like I did my job in building the trust, so that instead of taking whatever offer they were given from whatever source, they trust me to bring that back, evaluate it for them,
Okay.
and tell them what's the best scenario for them to move forward. And usually I can come up with an option to beat that beat that offer. Or I can look at it and tell them this is really not a legitimate offer and you're going to get bait and switched. Don't go with this. So I just love that when they do have that. And then I also have in the fall each year, I do a client event at my house. And
Okay.
it's the pumpkin pancake patio party. So have people come out, just enjoy fall. Usually
Hundreds and hundreds line the streets.
So it's always a really fun event. People come and just enjoy having things. My husband and my mom help with cooking pancakes for everybody, and we just set everything up so that it really feels like welcoming them into my home and into my life. And I'd rather work with people that I'm going to be comfortable with in that setting. So I love it when I see people who I've worked with who aren't friends and family or direct referrals that show up. And I had one show up this year and look around and say, I never thought my mortgage broker would invite me to something like this.
Right.
And
I
just
agree.
closed on his refi today. So, but yeah, just a super interesting guy as well. And I just love getting to know them outside of what's your income, what's your DTI, what are your assets, and creating those community connections.
Can I ask you, where did you learn to do that? I mean, is that something that somebody taught you because you saw them doing, something you came up on your own? I mean, you got a lot of great follow-up, post-close events, who you're hanging out with on a daily basis. How did you learn how to do that? Where did that come from?
I think it came from a lot of different places. I've had some really excellent mentors in the mortgage industry, including some of my current business partners. And so that's been really helpful. I've done 2 different coaching programs that have been really, really helpful.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've done that. Had to very much take with a grain of salt. I really liked, I'm not going to be someone that's not me. So I'm not going to fit into the mold of these are the exact actions that you do and you must follow this because this is what 18,000 people before you have done. Like it needs to feel personal to me. And so I definitely have taken a lot of pieces of information and suggestions from coaching and from mentors and put them all together into something that feels natural for me. I've always loved hosting parties and just having friends gather. And so I couldn't think of something more natural as a client event than having them all come to my house and feed them food and spend a morning through. Usually it stretches into the afternoon, just sitting on the patio and chatting about life. So that part is just really a natural option for me. The previous company that I was with had also a fall event that they stopped hosting. And so I started hosting that the year before I joined Xpert, started creating my own event, and it went so well that I decided to continue on with it. So I think a lot of different pieces came from different parts of my life, both in this career and in my previous career as a marketing manager. And
Okay.
so I think that all those pieces I've just taken the parts that work for me and that fit my personality and made them work for my business and my life.
You're definitely doing that. This is a really, I hope people will take the time to listen to this. You're giving out such tremendous amounts of information right now. People say, gosh, how do you do it? I'm like, just go listen to Jessica's interview and tell me what you're not doing versus what she is doing. I mean, same with Stephanie Gilbert, same with Matt. You know, Jamie Newman yesterday, she was saying, Rich, I really don't do anything. And I said, well, take me through a day. She does all these different things. I'm like, so yes, you're doing all kinds of things, but it's just part of your day now. You don't look at it as I need to go do this. No, I'm going to start by working out. I'm going to meet these people because we have this in common. I'm going to be doing this. And I love it. You're also, you're treating your clients and my clients a lot of times become, are we going to hang out every day on the weekend? No, but we're beyond a business to business relationship. There's a trusted thing there, and they can leave knowing they could ask me a question because I just poured over all their personal stuff. One thing I do is from day one, the why behind what we're doing. I don't care if it's a purchase, oh, I'm just buying a house. No, why are you buying a house? What are the reasons you want to buy a house? And I personalize everything. If I'm doing a refinance, why are we doing a refinance? I get very personal. So if I died and someone had to come in behind me, they could pick it up. And it's not like, well, Mr. Borrower, it looks like you're doing a refi. No. Hey, John and Mary, it looks like you're taking money out because Beth is going to go to college. You're hoping she gets into the local junior college first, because that would save you 2 years. But if she gets that track scholarship, you're going to take her to UGA. I'll buy that, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's the reason I do this, because my competitors don't. It's just a transaction, burn and turn, and get on the phone and dial. And I'm like, I am not going to do business that way. The more time I take and personalize it, I get so many more referrals over time, because they want their friends and family treated the same way. Because how I treat them, and you wouldn't know if they had 800 credit scores or 500 credit scores. They're all treated the same. And I fight the same battles for them. So I love what you're talking about. But here's a question. I hear you going 100 miles an hour. I hear the groups. I hear business. I hear people eating pancakes at the house. Who are you? What do you like to do when you are not in business mode? What kind of hobbies do you have?
So many. So I love music and dance. So
Okay.
I'm into all kinds of different styles. I actually went to school for musical theater originally, and then switched halfway through to a music business degree. So I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. I like to play the guitar and the piano.
Wow.
I
Okay.
love going to dance classes. My whole growing up, I did ballet, but I've been doing more recently hip hop. I got back into that because I did a fundraiser event for the YWCA of Boulder County a couple of years ago, where they model it after Dancing with the Stars. And so it's Dancing with the Boulder Stars. So they pair a local industry person with a dance instructor, and you work together to create a performance. And we get to perform at the Boulder Theater, which is
Very
also where my
nice.
husband worked for years and years, and where I got engaged on that stage.
Okay.
So it's a really special place in my heart, and just got back into dancing through that. So I've been doing a lot of that. Absolutely love it. I sing with a local choir that is a really beautiful women's choir with a very, very strong social justice message,
Okay.
which I really love. And I spend a lot of time with my kids. It's senior baseball hat. My son is playing little league, so he had his first game and hit a home run last week.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and my daughter is also really into singing as well as horseback riding, so I go and do a lot of those types of events with them. And I love to get outside. I live in Colorado. There's nothing better. So hiking, I really, really love hiking anytime I can get a chance. And we have a group of us within our team that will try to get together. Usually, if we can pull it off, we'll try to get together weekly and do a really challenging hike that's just right on the edge of town in Boulder. And so those are all my favorite things to do.
Have you done that? I'm going to say it wrong. Is it Avenue of the Giants or something of the Gods? Whatever it is. It's
Garden
like
of the
straight up.
Gods.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
How many
yeah.
steps up is that one?
Well, you may be thinking of the Manitou Incline, which
Maybe
is,
that's the one where it's
yeah,
like has all the steps and you
yeah,
go up and you can walk down around, or some people turn around and try and come back down.
yeah,
But my
yeah.
son has done that. Yeah.
I went down there for a celebration for a friend, and we did not end up. The weather wasn't great, and we didn't have. Not everybody in the group was ready to do that kind of a hike,
I
and
guess
so we did
not.
not do that part. We did do Garden of the Gods though, and it was beautiful, but
Yeah.
not quite as challenging.
So I mean, let's be honest here, because everybody keeps saying there's so many beautiful days. How many non-beautiful days are there in Colorado where you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cold outside?
I think that's the trick, is it can be cold outside and it's still beautiful. It's not like I grew up on the East Coast, and when it's cold, it's gray and it's gloomy. And days like that, I don't know, there are maybe 10 or 20 in a year where it's kind of gloomy and cold. Usually it clouds over and it snows and it's cold and the sun comes out, and you walk outside and you might need a coat and a hat and gloves and everything like that. But all the sunshine makes it feel so much warmer than it actually is. Or even if you are colder, just it doesn't affect your mood in the same way.
I
as
like it.
the gloominess. And so
I
it
like
gets to
it.
the
I
point where the
like it.
gloominess actually feels like a treat here because it's so sunny all the time. You're like, oh, I kind of like this weather that makes me want to stay cozy and cuddled up inside. So, but yeah,
Boulder is beautiful. I'd never been to Boulder until we did that event. I've never gone really past Denver down to Colorado Springs. I've never gone really that other way. Um, Here's a question for you. I'm going to get a little deeper. I want to know more because you're doing great answering these questions. Everything that you've done, everything that you know, how you do it, all these different things. If you go back and give a young Jessica coming out of high school advice, like knowing what you know now, what kind of advice would you give to that younger person? Maybe the person coming out of college. I mean, to save them 20 years of something, what kind of advice would that be?
keep it as an investment, buy your next home, and keep using that low down payment opportunity that you will not get once you find the forever home that you want to stay in forever, and create that passive income stream and that wealth generating vehicle while you're already in that sort of transitional mode. So I think that is the one big piece. Having that made it really possible for both my husband and I to make some really tremendous career shifts.
Uh-huh.
For me to stay home with my kids when they were really little, things that just would not have been an opportunity for us if we hadn't had that stability. So, and then eventually it led to me realizing that I was really interested in a career in lending because all of my friends got tired of me telling them how to buy houses and then them buying them. And then finally I said, what do you guys think I should be when I grow up? And they all said, mortgage broker. I was like, oh, really? Like, haven't you heard yourself just explain all of these things? And I realized I'd referred all of them to my lender. And they all bought their first homes. So I think, wealth building through real estate is huge. It's been tremendous for me personally. It's something I have a personal interest in. And then also just not feeling like you have to choose between yourself and your job, because like I mentioned, I'm a songwriter. I love singing, but I was reflecting on this recently. While I had my first full-time job, that was the only time I was ever in a band, and I was in this band and I really enjoyed it. I loved being part of it. But I ended up quitting the band because I didn't think I had enough time to focus on that and do my job. And thinking back on it, I'm like, of course I had time to do both of those things. I just needed to leave work when it was time to leave work and be efficient with my time. And keeping those things in your life that just light you up are so valuable. And now I'm putting pieces back into my
Put it
life
back
for
in.
those things that light me up. And it's harder work to put it back in than it was if you just kept doing it all along. So
Definitely. And your body feels different if it's something physical. Going, gosh, why did I ever let myself get out of shape? I really enjoyed doing the triathlons, but now I couldn't run down the street if I tried. So many things. Life is called life, right? And there are no books really that talk about all this balancing of time. If we could learn early on, there's busy and there's busy that's productive and there's busy that is non-productive. There's people that just fall asleep at night and they think, gosh, what have I accomplished today? And I think that's what a lot of these interviews really start to show. I would say every one of our loan officers we'd all agree they're busy. But the question is, busy doing what? And that's where we're starting to see the differences. After all these interviews, we're getting ready to hit almost 200 interviews. I did this with my last company and the company before. I always like to talk to my people because everybody does it a little bit different, but yet I could say there's 5 attributes of a strong originator that's going to do very well. And typically those 5 attributes are missing on the other side. It's almost like they're avoiding them, right? And it's like, okay, if you don't want a cold call, then you better join a couple groups. What groups do you, well, what do you like to do? Well, I don't like to go anywhere. Okay, then you're going to have some problems. We got to get you out of the house. When you were younger, what do you like to do, right? We need to reinvent you in today's 2025. Even more so, I think anybody in sales would agree that they like to sell to like-minded people. There's a built-in trust because either you're sweating together, you're riding together, you're climbing together, you go to church together, you dance together. What is the commonality amongst the people that you hang with? And then the first thing you do, you want to get business, you go hang out with all the strangers who don't know you. It's like, no, don't do that. Stay over here, because those people, if you truly have earned their trust, I mean, they'll tell you what they think about you really quick if you're not that person. But I've had people say, well, I'm not the person in my group. And I say, have you ever asked them why? Because sometimes the truth hurts. Like, gosh, I see you drinking all the time. I just can't imagine putting you in a serious situation with people that I know. You're fun, but I don't know about my finances. And so I've had those conversations before. I've had those conversations with myself. Like, I used to try and do so much of everything that I had to bring myself back in and say, okay, I'm losing way too much family time trying to overdo it. So therefore, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? And I sat down, I talked to my wife, my kids, some of my friends. I asked them, what do you think my strengths are? What do you think my weaknesses are? And there was some interesting feedback, because those are people that supposedly know me better than others. Don't ask strangers. It's not fair. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. All right, I want to get deeper. We're going deeper here. All right. What's a lesson you learned the hard way, but are now grateful for?
I think it relates to a lot of the things you were just talking about, and the big one is how to delegate.
Ooh,
I think
good
that,
one.
yeah, I have had this very long standing from school aversion to group work. I wanted to be able to show what I could do. I wanted to prove I could do everything and every part of every project. And I think that there are ways in which that served me and ways in which it really has limited me and made it so that I'm doing so that I'm doing every piece of everything. And now as a professional, as a mother, as a wife, as a person who still wants to do all those hobbies that we just talked about, um, you have to make choices about your time. And I am not terribly skilled at delegating. I was a manager in a previous career, and I managed some people and made some pretty serious mistakes in terms of not trusting them and not letting them be able to grow and make the mistakes that they needed to make in order to learn to be better. And it's really hard for me to let go and just let someone take a piece of what I need to accomplish. But I also can't accomplish the things that I want to do in the world and in my business without letting other people do the things that aren't my unique strengths. And so I just started working with a personal assistant who's taking on some of those things that are just day-to-day things
Like
that
it.
I do not need to do. And it's mentally hard for me to let go of it because I watched watched my parents growing up doing everything. We have a long-standing family lore of my grandfather telling my mom. So this was my dad's dad telling my mom, "Well, you can't do everything first." And it's so true. But then you look at my mom, and she's accomplished amazing things, but she has been trying to do everything first. And so we do regularly remind ourselves of that. But I needed to take that a step further and say, you can't do everything yourself, and let people support me. And it gives people opportunities to grow as well, and people opportunities to, have an income and be a part of something that I'm really excited to be a part of what the business is that I'm part of.
Right.
And so letting someone else be part of that and earn an income that way gives them a place to be successful in what their career is as well. So that is, yeah, delegating has been a really difficult lesson for me, and I'm still learning it, but I think I'm getting better.
I had somebody tell me the other day, and they said, well, the difference is that successful people have 36 hours in a day, and unsuccessful people only have 24. And I'm like, obviously we know that's a joke. But that's how they feel, because they see how much people can get done. They're like, there's no way I can get that much done. And even I've had to learn this. It's taken me a while. I've just read a book. It's called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And I'm just, they all say it different, from the Tony Robbins to everybody, but it's the same message over and over. Learn to delegate and do it quickly. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What's holding you back from doing more of your strengths and doing less of your weaknesses? Because your weakness might be somebody else's strength, you know. And the thing is, there's a dollar value. People say, oh, I'm saving money by processing my own deals and doing everything myself. And it's like, no. And I used to think that way. I'll just take out my own trash at work. We don't need to get a janitor. That'll save $1,000. But everything that takes time from you, if you're the highest paid employee of your group or team and things like that, you're robbing the team because the most important person is doing the remedial tasks. And you're not very good at doing them all. So you're good, but not great. So why not do the great things and allow somebody else to do the things you're good at, because they might be great at it. And he said something that resonated with me. They said, sometimes they're going to suck at it. You probably are the best person at doing certain things. But here's the best part. Anything they can do at 60 to 70% of what you can do means that you gained 100% of your time to do the things that you need to count. You didn't just gain back 10%, you gained back 100% of that hour or 2 hours, 3 hours a week. And that one really set in with me because I thought, man, somebody allowed me to fail a lot. And that's what made me better rounded. We always want to protect everybody as well. And I'm like, it's not going to work out the way I think, but yeah, go ahead and do that. If I can see it coming, I really think, okay, go ahead. Maybe it'll work out different this time. And it's like, oh, that didn't work out. I'm like, yeah. How did you know? Because I did it already. But maybe there's always a chance because I'm ready to learn something too. But now we got that out of the way. We're not going to do it again. Did you learn from that failure? Because that's what I've been really good at. I don't repeat a lot of the same failures. I try a lot of things, how to get business, how to get better, how to learn. I take classes all the time. And I'm okay with failing because when I'm failing, I'm learning and I'm becoming more well-rounded. And sometimes there's things that make even more sense to me. I'm not trying to be everything, but I like understanding things, especially when it comes to sales and people and getting your time back, quality, learning how to be a better dad, husband, business owner, loan officer. And I'll listen to almost anything because so many different people have done it so many different ways. But the one thing that's consistent is how people approach their days. Positivity breeds positivity, negativity breeds negativity. And what an inspiration you are to your family that your kids are getting to see that at young ages. I didn't learn a lot of that till later because I didn't have a mentor my mentor was work your ass off. And I did just that. I outworked my competition, worked later, worked weekends. That has a price to pay with it as well. I want balance for you guys. I believe you should get the lion's share. I know what you're doing to get that business. And, no one's paying you an hourly wage to sit behind a desk. You're making it happen. And the other part I like about it too, Jessica, is you're all such incredible entrepreneurs in how you do it. And sometimes I get to see people just flourish when you take the shackles off and say, go for it. The sky's the limit. How can I help? And your success becomes your realtor's success, become your family success. But ultimately, it becomes my success because that's how I measure the success of this company is really what I'm seeing go. If you guys are all just suffering and going through everything, but I get we have some hardships out there, but we have some people that are setting records in that same market. And I am just honored day in and day out that I partner with such incredible people like yourselves, Matt Hardy, the teams. You really take it to a new level, which is awesome. I know it inspired you here. Let's see. Here's one thing. What's a failure that ended up being a blessing in disguise for you?
I think probably the failure of my first official business, which was a marketing consulting business.
Okay.
I had some success with it initially, and then I ended up having my contract that was with my primary client was terminated because I helped market yoga events, and they stopped producing their events.
Hey, namaste.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. But yeah, I certainly honored the teacher in that one. And so that one gave me the opportunity that happened right before my son was born prematurely. And so it felt like a blow. It felt like a really precarious financial situation, but ultimately it let me be home when he really, really needed me. And my daughter really needed me, and I was able to be with them. And it forced me, instead of trying to kind of make that career work for me, to really look around and say, what else is out there? And brought me into lending. So
Okay.
I think that's my biggest one is that piece. Of just realizing that that was not something that it wasn't lighting me up to go make that successful. I really enjoyed that contract, but when I started looking for other contracts, I just started to feel that that was not what was really bringing me joy, and what would. And oh wait, talking about real estate and how to make it work and how to build your life up lights me up. I talk about it to my friends all the time, so much that they suggest that I become a mortgage broker, because that's what I talk to them about naturally. And I did it so much I didn't even realize I was doing it. So I think that was a really, really positive failure,
No, that's awesome.
losing that contract.
You have given so much great advice into this. So many people say, Rich, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep doing it? And a lot of reasons. I know they're not perfect. I know I'm not got the perfect background, the perfect lighting, but I love the conversations. I love capturing people. I love putting people out there and getting other people to see and go, you know what? You may not be the best loan originator. Maybe you don't know if this is a career for you, but here's some people, some of the best people in the business that are willing to share an hour or less of their time. And if you just wanted to do that, I'm like, nobody does that. And not, as a matter of fact, not all my top loan officers want to get interviewed. They're like, hey, I've got my own thing going on, and I respect that. And I appreciate it. I mean, everybody wants it different. You came here to be an independent contractor. You don't necessarily, hey, I'll let you know if I need you. 100% respect that. And quite honestly, I used to be kind of like that. I knew what I needed to do. I was in it because the money equals the family, means we're okay. Um, you know, I never really grew up in a company atmosphere where we're having company picnics and all that stuff. It's just always been an entrepreneur, go out and get the business. I've been doing this almost 35 years. It's gone by fast. But I want to say, first of all, thank you for your partnership. I want to say congratulations on being the best of the best 2024. Absolutely makes sense after this interview. I mean, if someone were to put this in an audio format, oh, by the way, I can do that. And a transcript format, by the way, I could do that. I could almost take that transcript and write a step-by-step how to be successful in the mortgage business book. And man, I might even do that. I might just take this one, drop it in chat GPT and say, write me a book on how to be successful. I honestly thought about taking all the transcripts of all the top LOs and putting in chat GPT and say, find all the commonalities and then write the book. And just to see what it would do, because I'm seeing similarities on both ends of the spectrum, successful versus struggling. And just another top LO, I heard coaching, I heard organization, I heard daily habits, working with people you like to work with, getting in situations, you know, and then offering people to come into your house, another creating events where people can come in and get to know you better. That's awesome. These are such incredible takeaways from this. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing all that. I couldn't have asked for a better interview, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me be here. I really enjoyed chatting with you and just being able to talk through what all the things are that I do every day, because not and
I forgot I did all those things.
As a person who's kind of independent, working pretty independently, it's nice to be reminded every once in a while of what it is that I do finish in a day.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just love being part of this platform. It's really allowed me to be myself in this business, and I am really grateful for that opportunity and what it has brought, even through an extremely challenging time in our industry as a whole.
Yeah, definitely.
And as we have discussed, our group had an incredible year last year. At Greenlight Mortgage Group, we had so many people with record-breaking years,
You did.
And that is not typical of what the industry as a whole is seeing.
Not at all. Not at all. But
So
I'm starting to understand
love
it
the
now.
hope and optimism connection.
I think I'm going to have to bottle up some of the Colorado water because we have so many successful people in Colorado. I was like, what's in the water there?
It's the sunshine.
It's the sunshine. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your partnership. Again, thank you for just taking the time out of your busy day to give away such information that anybody out there that I'm going to put your information down below for contacts. If you're out there on your own and you want to maybe talk about a team concept, maybe you should talk to Jessica. Maybe you shouldn't go it alone. She's still independent, but yet she has partners, people that she can count on and get together with. And they also have people outside of Colorado. So you don't just have to live in Colorado. They have people outside in other states because these things called electronics, we can do these kind of conversations. But you don't need to go it alone. And it's such an incredible opportunity. So Jessica, thank you so much for this interview today. I'm going to make sure everybody sees it. And I wish you nothing but a prosperous 2025. And I can't wait to see where you end up this year.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Rich. I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful year also.
All right. Thanks, Jessica.